The year was 2157. Earth had grown beyond its cradle. Humans had built small colonies on Mars and sent ships to mine the asteroid belt. The United Nations Space Command watched over it all. Admiral Frank Norton led this space force with 50 ships that used nuclear power and basic weapons. Lieutenant Amy Garcia sat at her station on the UNSC flagship Defiance. Her dark hair was pulled back tightly as she studied the scan results. Something strange appeared near Saturn. At first, she thought it might be an error. She ran the scan again. "Admiral, you need to see this," she called out, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Norton walked over, his weathered face serious. He had spent 30 years in space, but nothing prepared him for what happened next. "Sir, the object is moving. It's changing course. Nothing natural moves like that." Within 3 hours, the massive ship arrived. It was sleek and silver, 5 times larger than Earth's biggest vessel. Its hull gleamed with strange symbols and lights that pulsed, in patterns no human had seen before. Earth's leaders gathered in an emergency meeting. Military forces went on high alert. News channels showed the alien ship hovering beyond the moon's orbit. "They're broadcasting something," Garcia said, fingers flying over her console. "It appears to be a greeting?" The aliens called themselves the Galactic Confederation. They were an alliance of 17 different species from across the stars. Their representative, Ambassador Zektoril, requested permission to meet Earth's leaders. The meeting took place at the United Nations headquarters in New York. Security was tight. Soldiers lined the streets as the alien shuttle descended from the sky. Zektoril stood 7 feet tall with blue-tinted skin and 4 arms. His eyes were large and black, showing no emotion as he surveyed the human delegation. "We have observed your world for some time," he said through a translation device. "Your species has taken its first small steps beyond your home planet. This is commendable, though quite primitive by our standards." Admiral Norton felt his jaw tighten. He didn't like the alien's tone. Zektoril continued, "The Confederation spans 3,000 star systems. We bring news that will change your world forever. You are not alone and the galaxy is not at peace." The alien explained that for over a century, the Confederation had fought against the Drachnid Empire. The Drachnids were conquerors from the center of the galaxy who destroyed any civilization that refused to submit. "The war has reached this sector of space," Zektoril said. "Your solar system now sits at the edge of contested territory. We offer you protection in exchange for resources and military alliance." After the meeting, Garcia joined a team assigned to work with the aliens. They set up a base on the moon, where Confederation scientists shared small pieces of their technology. "This is their version of a generator," explained Chief Engineer Paul Martinez as he showed Garcia a small silver cube. "It produces 10 times the power of our best nuclear reactors, and it's the size of a toaster." Garcia nodded. "They're showing us toys, nothing that could give us any real advantage." "Exactly," Martinez said quietly. "But I've been taking notes on everything." 1 week later, Dr. Olivia Hayes requested an urgent meeting with Admiral Norton. Hayes was Earth's top linguist, assigned to study the aliens' language. "I've been monitoring their private communications," she said, voice low even, though they were in Norton's secure office. "They don't think much of us, sir." She played a recording. The aliens' strange language flowed from the speaker, with Hayes's translation appearing on a screen. "These humans are barely spacefaring primitives. Their technology is rudimentary at best. This system holds little strategic value except as a supply outpost. Their nuclear weapons are crude. Their understanding of physics is limited. They have not even discovered basic gravitational manipulation." Norton's face darkened. "So they see us as cavemen with rockets." "Yes, sir. But there's more. The Drachnids are advancing faster than the Confederation is telling us. Based on their communications, we may have 6 months at most before the war reaches us." Norton stood and looked out his window at the Earth below. "Then we have 6 months to prepare, and we have one advantage." "What's that, sir?" asked Hayes. "They underestimate us, and that's a mistake others have made before." Over the next few months, hundreds of alien personnel arrived in the solar system. The Confederation established an outpost on the moon and placed warning beacons at the edge of the solar system. Earth provided raw materials and allowed a small number of human soldiers to join Confederation forces as observers. But behind closed doors, Earth was preparing. Martinez led a team of engineers who studied every piece of alien technology they could access. In secret facilities beneath the Martian surface, they built prototypes that combined human and alien designs in ways the Confederation never considered. Garcia trained with Confederation pilots, learning their tactics while noticing their weaknesses. The aliens relied heavily on their advanced technology and followed strict protocols in battle. They lacked the human talent for improvisation. They've fought the same enemy the same way for 100 years, she told Norton during a secure briefing. They've forgotten how to adapt. Norton nodded. And adaptation is humanity's greatest strength. 6 months after first contact, a Zellerian commander named Trelvarex visited Norton aboard the Defiance. His manner was polite but condescending. "Admiral, our long-range sensors have detected a Drachnid scouting force. They will reach your system within 2 weeks. We are repositioning our fleet to intercept, but as a precaution, we recommend beginning civilian evacuation procedures." Norton raised an eyebrow. "Evacuation to where, Commander?" "We can accommodate several thousand of your most valuable citizens at our nearest secure colony. Scientists, engineers, genetic diversity sample, the best of your species." Garcia, standing nearby, saw Norton's knuckles turn white as he gripped his desk. "That's very generous," Norton said evenly. "But Earth will not be evacuated. We will stand and fight alongside your forces." Trelvarex made a gesture that resembled a shrug. "As you wish. But understand that your technology cannot stand against Drachnid weapons. Your courage is admirable, if misguided." After the alien left, Garcia approached Norton. "Sir, they're going to abandon us if things get bad, aren't they?" Norton nodded. "They see Earth as expendable, a primitive world on the edge of their territory." He smiled suddenly. "It's time to show them how wrong they are. Alert Martinez. Initiate Project Sentinel." That night, 20 hidden satellites activated in Earth's debris field. Each contained weapons that no alien had ever seen. A marriage of Confederation energy systems and human nuclear science. The satellites used stealth technology inspired by Earth's submarines, another concept the aliens had never developed. The trap was set, the Drachnids were coming, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy that primitive didn't mean helpless. 2 weeks passed quickly. Earth prepared for war while the Confederation ships moved to defensive positions near Jupiter. Admiral Norton called an emergency meeting with his top officers on the Defiance. "The Drachnid scout fleet has been spotted," he announced to the small group gathered around the table. 15 warships approaching from the direction of Alpha Centauri. They'll reach our outer defenses in 3 days. Lieutenant Garcia studied the holographic display showing the enemy positions. "The Confederation fleet is moving away from Jupiter. They're pulling back." Norton nodded grimly. "Just as we expected. Commander Daniel Scott, what's the status of our fleet?" Scott stood tall, his dark skin contrasting with his crisp white uniform. "All 35 ships are ready, Admiral. The new shield systems have been installed. Crews are trained on the hybrid weapons. They're as ready as they'll ever be." "And Project Sentinel?" Norton asked. "All 20 platforms are in position and invisible to standard scans," Garcia reported. "We've tested the targeting systems. They work perfectly." Chief Engineer Martinez entered the room late, his hands stained with mechanical grease. "Sorry for the delay, Admiral. We just finished the final adjustments to the Defiance's engines. You now have 30% more power and improved stealth capabilities." Norton looked at his team with pride. "The Confederation thinks we're hiding behind them. The Drachnids think they're facing a primitive species with basic space technology. Neither knows what we've really been building." Just then, Dr. Hayes rushed in. "Admiral, urgent communication from the Confederation command ship." The main screen lit up with Ambassador Zectoral's face. The alien looked uncomfortable. "Admiral Norton, I regret to inform you that our strategic assessment has changed. The Drachnid force approaching your system appears to be larger than initially reported. Our fleet must reposition to protect core Confederation territories." Norton kept his face neutral. "You're leaving Earth defenseless?" The alien made a gesture that might have been apologetic. "Not defenseless. We will leave 2 support vessels to assist with evacuation. The Drachnids may bypass your system entirely if they don't detect our presence. Your primitive technology might actually be an advantage in this case. They may not consider Earth worth conquering." After the transmission ended, Norton turned to his officers. "And there it is. They're abandoning us as we predicted." Scott slammed his fist on the table. "They never intended to protect Earth. We were just a convenient buffer zone." "It doesn't matter now," Norton said. "Operation Surprise begins immediately. Lieutenant Garcia, you'll take command of the Sentinel platforms from the secure facility on Titan. Commander Scott, prepare the fleet to hide in Saturn's rings until my signal. Martinez, activate the planetary defense grid. Dr. Hayes, monitor all communications. I want to know what the Drachnids say when they realize what they're really facing." The room buzzed with activity as Earth's defenders moved to their positions. The Confederation ships disappeared into the darkness of space, leaving humanity alone against the coming storm. 3 days later, the Drachnid fleet arrived at the edge of the solar system. Their ships were massive, dark shapes with red energy, pulsing along their hulls. They moved with confidence, detecting only minimal defenses ahead. From her command center buried deep in Titan's icy crust, Garcia watched the enemy approach. Screens showed the Drachnid formation, 15 warships in a standard arrow pattern. They had no fear, expecting an easy victory. "Sentinel platforms online," she reported over the secure channel. "Waiting for your command, Admiral." On the bridge of the Defiance, hidden within Saturn's rings alongside the rest of Earth's fleet, Norton gave the order they had prepared for. "Lieutenant Garcia, you may fire when ready." Garcia pressed her palm against the authorization scanner. Sentinels activated, firing sequence initiated. Across the solar system, 20 hidden platforms emerged from stealth mode. Each launched a specially designed missile toward the approaching Drachnid fleet. The missiles didn't register on alien scanners, another human innovation. When the weapons reached their targets, they didn't explode. Instead, they released a pulse of energy that Martinez had designed based on his study of alien technology. The pulse shut down the Drachnids' shields and disrupted their communications. The enemy ships froze in space, suddenly vulnerable. "Now, Commander Scott," Norton ordered. Earth's fleet burst from its hiding place, engines flaring. The ships were smaller than the Drachnid vessels but moved with surprising speed and coordination. They targeted the largest enemy warships first, hitting them with weapons that combined human nuclear warheads with Confederation energy delivery systems. 3 Drachnid ships exploded before they could restore their shields. On the bridge of the Drachnid command ship, Fleet Commander Vorgrath raged at his officers. "How is this possible? These are primitives. Their technology was assessed as pre-interstellar." His tactical officer looked up in confusion. "Sir, they're using modified versions of Confederation weapons, but with configurations we've never seen before. Our shields can't adapt to their attack pattern. It's too random, too unpredictable." The Drachnids fought back, their superior firepower, now their only advantage. Red energy beams lashed out, cutting through space. 2 human ships exploded, and 3 more suffered heavy damage. But Scott had trained his captains well. The Earth fleet broke formation, each ship attacking from a different angle, never following a predictable pattern. The Drachnids couldn't target them all. "Admiral," Garcia called from Titan, "the Drachnid command ship is breaking from the formation. It's heading directly toward Earth." Norton smiled grimly. "Just as we predicted. They're following standard protocol. For subduing primitive worlds, show overwhelming force with their flagship. Activate Project Hydra." Around Earth's orbit, hidden mines powered up. These devices, disguised as natural space debris, contained a deadly surprise, a combination of nuclear explosives and gravitational disruptors based on technology Martinez had reverse-engineered from alien engines. When the Drachnid flagship came within range, the mines activated. The massive alien ship suddenly found itself caught in conflicting gravitational fields. Its structure groaned under forces it wasn't designed to withstand. Before the Drachnid commander could react, A series of explosions ripped along the ship's hull. The flagship didn't explode completely. Instead, it drifted, crippled and powerless in Earth's orbit. "Sir," Scott reported, "the remaining Drachnid ships are retreating. They're regrouping at the edge of the system." Norton nodded. "They'll be back with reinforcements. But we've just done something no one thought possible. Humanity has won its first interstellar battle." Unknown to the humans, their victory was being watched. At the edge of the solar system, a small Zilirian observation vessel recorded everything. Inside, a shocked Confederation officer sent an urgent message to his superiors. The primitives weren't so primitive after all. 3 days after the battle, Earth remained on high alert. The disabled Drachnid flagship still hung in orbit like a dark cloud. Teams of engineers led by Martinez worked around the clock to study the captured vessel. "This technology is at least a century ahead of our own," Martinez told Admiral Norton as they floated through the alien ship's corridors. "But now that we can see it up close, we can learn from it." Norton nodded. "How long until the Drachnids return with reinforcements?" "Based on their communication systems, we have maybe a week," Martinez replied. "They're gathering a much larger fleet. Next time they won't underestimate us." Back on Earth, Major Samantha Wells prepared the ground forces. The tall, muscular woman had spent 15 years in special operations before joining the Space Defense Program. Now she drilled her soldiers with new weapons developed from the alien technology. "The Drachnids will likely try a ground invasion next," she told her troops as they practiced with energy rifles. "They want our resources intact, which means boots on the ground. They expect to find scared civilians and outdated weapons. Let's show them how wrong they are." Lieutenant Garcia hadn't slept in 2 days. She remained at her post on Titan, monitoring space for any sign of the enemy's return. The Sentinel platforms had been repositioned and reprogrammed based on what they learned from the first battle. "Lieutenant, you have an incoming transmission," her assistant said. "It's from Confederation space." Garcia straightened her uniform and accepted the call. The screen showed a Zilirian face she didn't recognize. "Lieutenant Amy Garcia? I am Sub-Commander Fex Narl of the Confederation Observation Corps. I witnessed your battle against the Drachnid fleet. Most impressive for a developing species." Garcia noticed the alien had almost said primitive, but changed the word at the last moment. "Progress," she thought. "Thank you, Sub-Commander. Was there something you needed?" The alien hesitated. "This communication is not officially sanctioned. However, I felt it necessary to inform you that the Drachnid response will be severe. They have never been defeated by a pre-Confederation civilization before. Their leadership is both embarrassed and concerned." "Concerned? About us?" "Your species has demonstrated unusual adaptability. The Drachnids fear what you might become if given time to develop. They will return with a force large enough to ensure Earth's complete submission. I estimate at least 50 warships." Garcia felt cold. Earth had barely survived 15. "Why are you telling me this? Your leaders abandoned us." The alien looked uncomfortable. "Not all of us agreed with that decision. Some of us believe. We may have misjudged your potential." After the transmission ended, Garcia immediately reported to Admiral Norton. Emergency meetings were called. Earth had 1 week to prepare for an attack they might not survive. On the 5th day, as Earth's defenses were being strengthened, an unexpected signal came from the edge of the solar system. 3 large ships appeared, Confederation vessels. "This is Grand Admiral Zelvarek of the Confederation 5th Fleet," came the transmission, "requesting permission to enter Earth space for diplomatic discussions." Norton met with his officers before responding. "This is suspicious timing. Why return now?" "The Observation Corps," Garcia suggested. "They must have reported what they saw. Maybe the Confederation is reconsidering Earth's value. Or they want to make sure the Drachnids don't get our technology," Commander Scott added cynically. Norton decided to allow the aliens to approach, but only with a limited escort. The meeting was set aboard the Defiance rather than on Earth, a small but significant shift in the power dynamic. Grand Admiral Zelvarek was taller than most Zilirians, with deeper blue skin and ornate markings on his face indicating high rank. When he entered the Defiance's conference room, he did something unexpected. He bowed slightly to Admiral Norton. "Admiral, I must first convey the Confederation Council's apologies for our premature withdrawal from your system," Zelvarek began. "It appears we miscalculated." Norton kept his face neutral. "Miscalculated our chances of survival, or our worth as allies?" The alien didn't flinch at the directness. "Both, if I'm being honest. Your victory against a Drachnid battle group has sent shockwaves through Confederation space. They were equipped with technology that has overwhelmed 3 of our core systems in recent months." He gestured to the viewport where Earth was visible in the distance. "Your species has demonstrated remarkable ingenuity, the way you adapted our technology and combined it with your own approaches. It's unprecedented." "We're full of surprises," Norton replied evenly. "Now, what exactly do you want, Grand Admiral?" "An alliance. A real one this time. Not the protective arrangement we offered before. We have intelligence that the Drachnids are mounting a major offensive against your system. They will arrive in 2 days with a fleet of 65 warships." Garcia gasped softly. Even with their new weapons, Earth couldn't hope to defeat such a force. Zelvarek continued. "I have brought 3 dreadnoughts and can call in 12 more within a day. We propose a joint defense of the Sol system." Norton studied the alien carefully. "And what do you want in return?" "Your innovations, the weapons you created by merging our technologies, the tactical systems that allowed your smaller ships to defeat a superior force. The Drachnids have never seen anything like them. Neither have we." Martinez spoke up unexpectedly. "You want our primitive ideas?" The alien smiled, an expression he must have learned from studying humans. "Perhaps we were too quick to judge technological advancement as the only measure of civilization. Your species has shown that innovation can overcome technological gaps. That is, valuable." Norton looked at his officers, seeing the same cautious hope in their eyes that he felt. "We need time to discuss your offer privately, Grand Admiral." After the aliens left the room, Scott voiced what everyone was thinking. "They need us now. They've realized we have something they don't." "Adaptability," Garcia said. "They've been fighting the same enemy the same way for a century. They've forgotten how to think differently." Norton nodded slowly. "And now they want to learn from the primitives." He allowed himself a small smile. "Let's negotiate an alliance that respects Earth as an equal partner. We have something they need, and they have something we need." "Survival," Martinez said simply. As the Confederation ships took up defensive positions alongside Earth's fleet, Dr. Hayes monitored their communications. "Sir, you should hear this," she told Norton, playing a translated recording. "The Zilirians are describing humans as innovative, allies and tactical visionaries in their reports back to their homeworld. Quite a change from barely spacefaring primitives." Norton looked out at the combined fleet. "Nothing changes perspective quite like seeing the impossible happen. Let's hope we can do it again when the Drachnids arrive." Earth prepared for its greatest test, no longer alone and no longer underestimated. The Drachnid fleet arrived exactly as predicted. 65 warships appeared at the edge of the solar system, their dark hulls absorbing the distant sunlight. They moved in perfect formation, confident in their overwhelming numbers. What they found waiting for them was unexpected. The combined human Confederation fleet held position near Jupiter. 15 alien dreadnoughts towered over Earth's smaller vessels, but the human ships had been upgraded with new weapons and shields. On the bridge of the Defiance, Admiral Norton and Grand Admiral Zelvarek stood side by side, studying the tactical display. "They've brought their entire 3rd battle group," Zelvarek noted. "They really want your planet." Norton nodded. "They're afraid of us now. We surprised them once. They won't risk it happening again." The Zilirian turned to look at the human admiral. "Your species has only been in space for a few decades. Yet here you are, preparing to face one of the most powerful forces in the galaxy." "We adapt quickly," Norton replied simply. The command structure for the coming battle had been carefully negotiated. Norton would lead the combined fleet, with Zelvarek as his second in command. It was an arrangement unheard of in Confederation history. a primitive species given authority over advanced alien ships. Lieutenant Garcia coordinated from her command center on Titan, now reinforced with Confederation technology. Her role was to synchronize the Sentinel platforms with the fleet movements. The Drachnids are launching scout ships, she reported over the comm system. Their main fleet is holding position for now. Norton turned to Commander Scott. Time for Phase 1. Let's show them what we've learned. Scott nodded and transmitted coded orders to the human ships. 8 vessels broke from the main formation, moving with surprising speed toward the approaching scouts. The human captains employed the unpredictable maneuvers that had confused the Drachnids in the previous battle, but this time, the enemy was prepared. The Drachnid scouts suddenly split apart, using new formations designed to counter the human tactics. They've studied our methods, Scott said with concern. Norton smiled slightly. Good thing we've developed new ones. At his signal, the human ships activated the weapon Martinez had created by studying the captured flagship. A pulse of energy spread between the Earth vessels, creating a web-like pattern. When the Drachnid scouts tried to pass through it, their engines failed. They drifted helplessly in space. The disruption field works, Martinez exclaimed from his position at the engineering station. Xelvarek stared in surprise. How did you develop this so quickly? We took the concept from your shield technology but reversed the polarity, Martinez explained. The Drachnids never considered that it could be used offensively because it wasn't designed for that. The victory was short-lived. The main Drachnid fleet began to advance, firing long-range weapons that lit up space with red energy. 3 Confederation dreadnoughts took heavy damage. Norton gave new orders. The combined fleet split into smaller groups, each with a mix of human and alien ships. This was a new tactic developed during their brief alliance. The Confederation ships provided heavy firepower, while the more agile human vessels protected them with disruption fields. The battle spread across the space between Jupiter and Mars. Ships exploded on both sides. Emergency communications filled the channels as captains reported damage and casualties. On Earth, Major Wells monitored the space battle from her command center. The Drachnids are sending landing craft toward Earth, she reported. Just as we expected. They're trying to capture ground resources while the fleet is engaged. How many? Norton asked, his voice calm despite the chaos around him. 20 ships, each carrying about 100 soldiers. They're heading for multiple landing zones, with the largest group targeting the Mojave Desert base. Proceed with ground. Defense Plan Delta, Norton ordered. Show them what Earth's ground forces can do. Wells smiled grimly. With pleasure, Admiral. The Drachnid landing craft entered Earth's atmosphere like falling stars. They expected minimal resistance from a primitive planet with its defenses focused on space. They were wrong. As the alien ships descended toward the Mojave, they triggered a network of ground-based energy cannons reverse-engineered from Confederation designs. 5 craft exploded mid-air. The rest landed, their hulls smoking from the unexpected attack. Drachnid soldiers emerged, tall and reptilian with dark armor covering their bodies. They carried advanced energy weapons and moved with military precision. Their commander scanned the seemingly empty desert and signaled his troops to advance toward the human base visible in the distance. They had traveled less than 100 yards when the ground beneath them erupted. Concealed bunkers opened, revealing Major Wells and her soldiers equipped with hybrid weapons. The humans wore armor that Martinez had developed by combining Confederation materials with Earth designs. Open fire, Wells commanded. The battle was short but intense. The Drachnid soldiers had superior individual strength, but they fought according to rigid protocols. Wells' forces used the terrain and unpredictable tactics, striking from multiple directions simultaneously. Within an hour, the alien ground force surrendered. Similar reports came in from around the globe. The Drachnid ground invasion had failed completely. In space, the battle reached its climax. The Drachnid fleet, realizing they had lost their ground forces, gathered for one final push toward Earth. Their remaining 40 ships formed a spear formation, intending to overwhelm the defenders through sheer numbers. They're getting desperate, Garcia reported from Titan. All their ships are diverting power to forward shields and weapons. Norton exchanged glances with Zelvarek. They've exposed their rear flanks. Time for our surprise. At Norton's command, 6 human ships that had been hiding in Mars's orbit revealed themselves. These vessels had been equipped with the most powerful weapons Martinez could create, fusion bombs enhanced with Confederation energy technology. The human ships fired simultaneously at the unshielded rear of the Drachnid formation. The explosions rippled through the enemy fleet, disabling engines and weapon systems. Without power to maintain formation, the Drachnid ships scattered. All vessels, converge and target the Drachnid flagship, Norton ordered. The combined human confederation fleet surrounded the massive enemy command ship. After a brief but intense exchange of fire, the Drachnid flagship surrendered. Across the solar system, the remaining enemy vessels retreated, jumping to faster-than-light travel with whatever power they had left. As the bridge crew of the Defiance celebrated, Zelvarek approached Norton with a formal bow, deeper this time. Admiral Norton, in 900 years of Confederation history, we have never seen a species rise so quickly from their first steps in space to becoming a decisive force in galactic warfare. I must ask, how is this possible? Norton considered his answer carefully. We've had to fight for our survival throughout our history, not against aliens but against ourselves and our environment. Adaptation isn't just our strength, it's how we survived long enough to meet you. The Zellerian looked thoughtful. Perhaps that is what the Confederation has been missing all these years. We have been static, confident in our technological superiority. Your people have shown us a different path. As cleanup operations began, Admiral Norton received reports from around the solar system. Earth had survived. Humanity had not only held its ground, but had proven itself equal to the most advanced species in the galaxy. The primitives had become pioneers. 6 months after the Battle of Sol, Earth had changed dramatically. The skyline of every major city now featured alien architecture alongside human buildings. Confederation technology had been integrated into daily life, accelerating human development. By centuries, Captain Amy Garcia, recently promoted for her role in the victory, stood on the observation deck of the new space station orbiting Earth. Named Unity, the massive structure served as the headquarters for the combined human Confederation forces. Quite a view, isn't it? Said Admiral Norton as he joined her. Hard to believe how much has happened in less than a year. Garcia nodded. From first contact to full alliance in record time, the Confederation historians can't stop talking about it. Below them, Earth gleamed blue and green. Ships of various designs moved through space, some purely human, others Confederation, and many showing the hybrid approach that had become humanity's trademark. The Drachnid Empire has requested peace talks, Norton said, handing Garcia a data tablet. Their losses at Sol and in 3 subsequent battles have weakened them significantly. They underestimated us, Garcia replied, just like the Confederation did at first. Norton smiled. Being underestimated can be a powerful advantage. Remember that, Captain? In the 6 months since the battle, humanity's role in galactic affairs had evolved rapidly. The United Nations Space Command had expanded into the United Worlds Defense Force, incorporating colonies on Mars, Venus, and several moons of Jupiter and Saturn. Commander Scott now led the UWDF Academy, training a new generation of officers, from both human and alien backgrounds. His teaching methods emphasized adaptability and creative thinking, qualities that had saved Earth. The problem with the Confederation military, Scott told his mixed class of cadets, was that they fought the same way for too long. They became predictable. In battle, predictability is death. A young Zellerian cadet raised his hand. But our technology was superior. Our ships were larger and more powerful. Scott nodded. Size and power aren't everything. A small, fast ship with creative tactics can defeat a larger one. A new weapon used in an unexpected way can overcome stronger shields. Remember what saved Earth. Not just technology, but how we used it. Across the solar system, Chief Engineer Martinez supervised construction of Earth's first faster-than-light vessel. Named Horizon, the ship combined human design philosophy With Confederation propulsion technology, the drive core needs to be balanced differently. Martinez instructed a mixed team of human and alien engineers. The Confederation's standard configuration works for their larger ships, but our design is more streamlined. We need to adjust the energy flow. A Zilirian engineer looked confused. But the standard configuration has been used for 300 years without issue. Martinez smiled patiently. Just because something has always been done one way doesn't mean it's the only way. Sometimes a fresh perspective finds improvements no one considered. On Earth, Major Wells had been promoted to colonel and placed in charge of planetary defense. Her office in the new combined military headquarters in Geneva overlooked both human and alien troops training together. The integration is going well, she told Dr. Hayes, who now served as the chief liaison officer for interspecies communications. The Confederation soldiers are learning our adaptive tactics, and our troops are benefiting from their technical knowledge. Hayes nodded. Their language has changed when they talk about humans. No more terms like primitive or developing species. Now they call us innovative allies and adaptive partners. Nothing earns respect like saving someone's life, Wells replied. When our tactics helped them win battles they were losing for decades, they started paying attention. The most significant change came 3 weeks later. The Confederation Council, the governing body for the 17 member species, called a special session. For the first time in its history, they invited a new species to join as a full member without the usual century-long observation period. Admiral Norton led the human delegation to the Confederation capital world, a gleaming planet called Harmonia, at the heart of their territory. The journey took 2 weeks aboard a Confederation vessel, giving Norton time to prepare for the historic moment. The council chamber was vast, with curved walls rising hundreds of feet above the central platform. Representatives from all 17 species sat in tiered sections, their diverse forms representing the galaxy's incredible variety of life. Grand Admiral Zell Varek, now the Confederation's supreme military commander, introduced Norton and his team. Honored Council, I present Admiral Frank Norton of Earth. 7 months ago, his world was unknown to us, considered a primitive outpost at the edge of contested space. Today I stand before you to declare that humanity has proven itself not just worthy of our protection, but essential to our future. Norton stepped forward, feeling the weight of billions of human eyes watching through transmitted feeds. Thank you, Grand Admiral. People of the Confederation, I come before you not to ask for acceptance, but to offer partnership. Earth brings to this alliance something that cannot be measured in ships or technology, the human spirit of adaptation and innovation. He continued, his voice strong and clear. Throughout our history, humans have faced challenges that forced us to adapt or die. We turned those challenges into opportunities for growth. When we met the Confederation, you saw our technology as primitive. But you didn't see what makes humanity unique. Our ability to look at the familiar and see new possibilities. The Council listened intently as Norton described how human innovations had already helped the Confederation win battles they had been losing for decades. The combined fleet had pushed the Drachnid Empire back from 3 contested systems using human tactics and hybrid technology. When the vote came, it was unanimous. Earth became the 18th member of the Galactic Confederation, the first world to join without completing the traditional observation period. As Norton and his team returned to their quarters, Captain Garcia received an urgent message from UWDF Command. The Drachnids had launched a surprise attack on a Confederation colony world primarily populated by Zilirian civilians. It's a desperate move, Garcia told Norton. They're targeting civilian populations now that they can't win militarily. Norton's face hardened. How soon can we respond? A human battle group led by Commander Scott is already in the sector. They can reach the colony within hours, before any Confederation ships. 2 days later, Norton stood with Zell Varek watching, recorded footage of the battle. Scott's ships had arrived just in time, using Earth's new shield technology to protect the colony while driving off the Drachnid attackers. Thousands of Zilirian lives had been saved by human intervention. You know what this means, Zell Varek asked quietly. Norton nodded. The galaxy is changing. The primitives have become protectors. As the humans and their new allies looked to the stars, the old assumptions had been permanently shattered. A species once dismissed as barely worth noticing had become essential to galactic peace. The primitives had taught the advanced a valuable lesson: never judge potential by appearances, and never underestimate the power of adaptation. Earth's journey had only just begun,